And we are live. Welcome everyone to another evening of The Forsaken. Yes, we're on episode 56 this week. That's a fun number. So let's give a little. No, actually, we're on 57. I think I might have numbered this incorrectly.
Okay.
Whoops. Okay.
One moment, please. Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, it's already going to show up in there as like 56, though. That's the problem. All right, well, I changed it now. That's what matters. Anyways,
yes.
let's give,
round of applause.
We've already rolled for inspiration. So let me give a quick recap of last week's episode. As Caszeel joins Jurble, Zephyr, and Ranerius in the Wizard's Library's secret room, Teagan stayed downstairs with the still unconscious Cullem. Jurble and Zephyr discussed the maps on the wall, one of Ozberghen and one of Dem Glemte, as Ranerius and Caszeel looked through the papers and books haphazardly spread out on a large table in the center of the room. Amongst the papers of sketched faces, notes, and drawings, he finds a familiar face. Kring, the young collegiate wizard they had a run-in with towards the beginning of their adventure. They also investigate the boxes of small crystal spheres and glass bottles, finding the spheres had scrying magic on them. Meanwhile, Wren recognizes some names in a dated ledger. After a while, Zephyr and Pyxrin move to explore the locked doors on the other side of the second-floor hall, finding a locked spa room and a room with a singular, curious terrarium. I had such a hard trouble saying that word. Bell jar with a miniature moving waterfall and active mist. Ranerius explored the second floor of the mansion with detect magic activated, moving from room to room, hopefully to find something interesting. And Jurble went outside the cottage to explore the cavern and the spiderwebs there a bit more. Back to the bell jar, Pyxrin and Zephyr take a closer look, just as Teagan notices some interesting responses with Cullem downstairs. He notified the others. Pyxrin and Caszeel rushed downstairs to observe. Once there, Caszeel sits down and plays a beautiful melody, and just as the song hits a beautiful crescendo, the wizard's eyes flutter open. There we go. Yeah, so that's what happened last week. Just making sure my audio is good. Okay. So, friends, this left us off. Well, I know for sure that Pyxrin, I believe, at least I'm 90% sure, Pyxrin, Teagan, y'all were everywhere last week, BTW. Pyxrin, Teagan, and Caszeel were in the room where Cullem was, as his eyes started fluttering open. So we'll start there, since it's kind of the pressing part. So the three of you, and I think Caszeel, you were still playing your song, right, when his eyes started opening, or did you finish?
I was playing, but I think if I saw that
You
bring it up
stopped.
to that crescendo, like sort of like go across the.
So
goes back.
Yeah. So you hear,
and solo within the solo.
So
Yeah.
You see this wizard, you've seen him several times already, lying in the bed with the covers kind of tucked in under his arms. And he had this kind of like whitish hair with this white beard kind of cut close. As his eyes flutter open and he starts, as the three of you are watching him, you could almost swear that he almost, maybe 10 years is knocked off of his face, 10 to 20. He seems to become, he looked aged before with, wrinkles and, not an extensive amount of wrinkles, but maybe about a gentleman in his 80s. Now he appears more almost in his maybe like mid early 60s.
Okay.
As his eyes flutter open and he still lays there and kind of like looks over to the three of you. Well, may I ask who I have the pleasure of seeing here?
I'll look and see if either the other people in the room want to say anything.
I'll probably go Teagan, and I'll probably either try to help him prop himself up or whatever he wants to see to do if he seems able.
What are you doing, Teagan? I'm sorry.
I introduce myself as Teagan, and as see if he needs any help to like prop himself up, or does he want to stay reclined, or?
I think I need to lay here for a bit, but if you wouldn't mind, but he'll kind of, reach up and just kind of like readjust his pillow to where like he's more, kind of with his head elevated a bit more. And he kind of looks over at the side table where Deft had a glass of water. Would you mind just kind of getting that and placing it into my hand? I can drink it. I can drink it myself.
Teagan will oblige, then.
Thank you, Teagan. And the two of you, take a drink.
The name's Caszeel. I was sent to come find you by Ranerius in Geneva.
The three of you make perception checks for me, please. As Cazeel's introducing himself.
Perception
16.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Pyxrin?
Pyxrin's pulling a wedgie out. Oh, I sent you a Zoom message that's inconsequential stuff, but it's there.
It was
So
a
it's
20.
not important. 20 buddies.
Oh, two. Okay, so all three of you will notice that as Cullem kind of looks over to the two of you, to Pyxrin and Caszeel, his eyes kind of linger on Caszeel, and he does almost like his eyes squint a bit. And he just kind of blinks a couple times and just kind of has this expression on his face that is definitely something that he tries to hide, hide a moment later. Almost like recognition, I'll say, with your high rolls.
Okay.
Caszeel, you say?
Hey.
Excuse an old man. You looked familiar for a moment.
Perhaps you've met my pa then, Wilhelm?
You're taking like a quick drink of water. And try to like shakily put the glass behind him back on the table and almost like prop himself up a bit with his elbow to look at you better, Caszeel. You're Wilhelm's child.
Well, he was part of the process, I suppose. I don't really know him that much myself, but that's what my mother tells me.
We are talking about, gosh, do you have a surname? Caszeel?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I don't have it written down.
But
It's not in your backstory. It's not in your anything.
Oh, actually, I don't know if Caszeel does, now that I think about it.
It's not in anything that I have here.
I think I abandoned it a long time ago.
Okay, all right.
I have my doc up. I'll take a look. Yeah.
I think I
Caszeel
have.
Smith. Sweet.
Nice.
Caszeel Jones.
Well, I tell you what, with the
Nice.
role that
Even
I
better.
had, he'll just. You're talking about Wilhelm from Dem Glemte, from the library.
Probably had a little magical device, and I mean, it looks like me just for the most part, maybe 80% of this.
That's. What? Is that why you're here? Is because of your father? Has something happened to him?
Well, actually, Geneva told me sounded like something was wrong with Geneva and Aurelius, and she
Oh.
said, "Make your way to Cullem quickly." So here I am. Looks like I'm a little bit late, though.
Right. Sorry, this is what happens when I try to multitask. This doesn't, nothing happens. That's exactly what happens. Okay, we're done. So,
Oh, that was out of character.
yes, that was out of character.
Cullem's, yeah. That's what happened. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened with Aurelius?
Look at Teagan and
We
Pyxrin.
really don't know. We haven't checked back on with him. We checked back a while ago, and he seemed to be quite frazzled. Something was going on with the library. He seemed to be almost under siege. Something about the library was after him.
Oh,
Trust the library. Something along those lines.
I think there were a few of us that could have told him that years ago, but Aurelius is not the one to listen. I know he does. I mean, he is smiling, like he has a kind of a wry, smile on his face. And you. May I have your name? Looking to you, Pyxrin.
Oh, hi, I'm Pyxrin. Nice to meet you.
If I were able to stand, I would bow.
Oh, there's absolutely no need. What happened here? If you're willing to.
Oh, yes, I am not exactly sure. And he'll kind of kind of readjust his pillow behind him to where like he's a little more sitting up, but not all the way sitting up. I was here in the house, and all of a sudden, a tall drow with some other drow and spiders somehow made it through my magical defenses outside. I had the two Aarakocra, which I'm assuming that were killed.
Yes.
Are they here in the house?
They're outside. We found one in a web outside and one just outside the house by the front door.
They were good soldiers. Good protectors and good friends. They broke through everything and started tearing the house apart. I tried to stop them, and apparently there was a mage amongst them, hooded, cloaked, so I couldn't really tell what they looked like, but almost almost drained me of everything. So from then on, I'm not necessarily sure how I got in this bed, even.
That's disconcerting. Do you feel yourself?
I think so, young man. I guess as much myself as I'll ever feel. I do remember they did say something about, I believe they addressed him as Varys?
That would make sense. We've been seeing traces of Varys all through our journey to get here. Spider webs in the trees.
Look at Pyxrin.
Pyxrin's like sinking lower and lower into her chair. She just
Right.
wants to disappear into the floor.
Pyxrin, isn't that your...
My dear, do you have a connection with this drow? I mean, you're here. I am aware that you were trying to heal me before. So I'm not here to judge you, just you seem concerned or bothered by the name. Are you okay? Do you need some tea or
Now don't do that. You're the one in the bed.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to Laura. And in the room with the three of you appears a spirit.
Ugh.
Another one.
Looks
Spirit attractive.
you can see I mean, well, you can see that she looks maybe in her late teens. She is tall, is wearing kind of not really necessarily robes, but some almost like, baggy pants that are tied at the ankles with some boots, and this kind of tunic on. And she looks like has a very shaved close to the head haircut. And it seems very much like the more almost, it kind of reminds you of the spirits that you saw from the sword when John was bringing the spirits out of the sword. Well, those who were there. Not Caszeel. Caszeel, I don't know if you've experienced anything, other than if Cazeel's ever seen a ghost or anything, a spirit, but yes.
Maybe something long
Yeah.
ago, but nothing like this.
But
up
very,
close and personal.
but very temporal. You can see these features in her, obviously, but can see through her a bit. And you can there's almost like an inward glow that kind of catches on the dust in the air around her. Oh, yes, Laura. Please, would you mind making some tea for our guests? Oh, well, Mr. Cranthora, I believe there's a tabaxi that's already started making tea. It seems to have taken control of the kitchen. You'll see Cullem kind of lean up a tabaxi.
Oh, they're sort of with us, right? Is that Zephyr's friend?
That was friend.
They were here when we arrived, so I only know him from Adam.
Okay.
But
Yes, his name is Deft, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as he's... anyways, as long as he's not causing trouble, I believe everything's already been... he's talking to the spirit, Laura. As long as everything seems to have been already topsy-turvy, eh? Yes, Mr. Cranthora. I guess that's all I need. You can be free to roam about the house, I guess. I'm sorry that you were kept silent for so long. I don't know how long I was out. It was around 24 hours or so. Got it. maybe a couple of days. I can't really. It's okay, Laura. Just please. And the spirit will kind of like float out of the room.
So, speaking of going about the house, we all arrived.
You
I just want you to
stitches.
know that we were very concerned. You were here in bed. We couldn't wake you up. And we were sent by Aurelius, and something was happening there, a bunch of chaos, and we thought we need to figure out why we've been sent, or at least that's what I thought. So I spent some time myself just going about your house. Didn't you take anything? But I've been snooping a bit, so just wanted to be upfront. That's on me.
He'll kind of hold up a hand, and he'll have like, as you started talking to him and telling him this, because you would have seen kind of like him trying to hide a smile, a smirk. Laura told me mentally that I appreciate you coming forward with the information, though I can't really blame you. I mean, I was an old man and unconscious, and my house is quite fascinating, so I'm not... I don't fault you. As long as you, well, didn't take anything important.
No, we just took a look around. We found a room below, and I'll explain that room with the doors. I did. Again, we were concerned that there was something happening here that we needed to perhaps find or house you from sleep. So I found that, and I may have. No, I did. I dispelled the magic, keeping that bar on. So
you managed to open the door.
We didn't. Well, perhaps we went in a little bit, but then we left.
It's fine. It's fine. Yes. The person who put that door there, I tried to convince them that we should only have a key opening for it, but they insisted that magic was the way to go. So it had two ways of entering.
Oh.
You could have dispelled the magic, or there was a key that could be assembled.
That's incredible. Huh.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for letting me know. Did you find anything interesting? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, my dear.
So if she's a ghost, how does she make tea?
I'm able to give her a little boost in her power of sorts, to where that she can control things with her mind.
Oh, and sorry, it's the voices.
Sure. It's Lyric and John in the next room.
Had a bell jar thing. But I couldn't quite tell if it was this place or if it was a different place. Okay, we all snooped.
If you do this.
Again,
Gasp at that.
Don't fault you, my dear. The bell jar was in a locked room. That's a bit, it's okay. It is a different place, yes. A place very special to me. I hope you didn't break it.
No, I put it right back, and I made sure that Zephyr wasn't gonna mess with it or anything, and locked the door, and I made sure that it was put back.
Thank you.
I figured it was something, something.
Well, I think I would have known if you would have broken it anyway, so that might have woken me up quicker than the song.
If it's all right with you, sir, I might grab some of my friends in case. I think, well, Teagan, did you, and Pyxrin, did you know you had a reason for coming here as well, right? It was a wee bit different than mine.
Yeah, the main reason I think all the reasons that we came here center around one word, and that's Shiga. We have a friend he's currently somewhere around. He's the main reason we brought him here, because he was stabbed with a dagger that was infused with Shiga energy or spirits. We're not quite sure.
Oh.
We had a couple, one healer in Echo who referred us to another healer in the Empire, Aurelius Empire, who directed us that you were our best chance at finding a permanent solution to his problem. The healer from the Aurelius Empire put some crystals in the wound, and that seemed to help, but it wasn't a permanent solution.
Sure. Yes, in fact, that was the secret room that you found in the cupboard. That is, that would be the device that we would use to be able to extract whatever's in him. Well, not whatever's in him, but if there are any spirits within him, other than his own, of course, to get them out.
And I think the others can expound more on it, but basically the Shiga spirits are being used, some might think abused, for other people's purposes. We think maybe Varus is looking to harness them. I know Aurelius is certainly concerned with what's going on at the library.
Sure. Aurelius is always, well, I would say that if Aurelius is concerned, then there's definitely something to be concerned about.
We've also seemed to find a couple of portals that lead to Dem Glemte on our journey here.
Yeah, they exist in Ozberghen for sure. Yes, I'm sorry. Please continue.
And our one friend who we'll bring in seems to have picked up at one of the portal sites, which was, I don't want to say an accidental portal site, but it's a portal site nonetheless, found some weapons that were infused with Shiga spirits. And he picked up some of the weapons and still has one on him that seems to have 5 spirits in it. And there are 2 other people in the next room, which we'll probably go to get both the friend who was wounded, I'll get them in a minute, that were able to bring out the spirits and allow us to talk to him. It was quite confusing. So his name is John Cresswood and his companion Lyric. Do you know of them?
I can't say that I do know.
Okay. Well,
Seems I'm a very popular man.
at the moment, you are the man of the moment, unfortunately.
Wow.
I'll lighten up the space in this room a little bit. I'll go get John and Lyric, and also look around and see if I can find Jurble.
Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. So with Caszeel and Pyxrin still in the room, he'll look back to you, Caszeel. So you say you didn't know your father?
No, he left when I was, just a bairn, maybe 2 or so. And I just met him again, perhaps a couple of months ago, a month and a half ago or so.
So you didn't, so he left when you were a child? You were born?
Right.
How long ago was that?
A considerable while.
I thought so.
I just look very young for my age.
Well, you're the spitting image, honestly. Didn't think I'd see Wilhelm again, but I see him in you, so...
My apologies.
No, Wilhelm was a fine worker. He served the library well at the time. Did you... You were born here in Ozberghen? Here on this plane, I mean.
Aye.
Strange. Must have found himself a plains girl. You do... You do... I mean... Am I making it clear that your father is from Dem Glemte?
Well, that I didn't know. I was born in Cresthaven. My mother never spoke of my father much.
Well,
I didn't realize he was from here.
that's surprising. Yes, I wonder why he didn't tell you.
Oh, his mind isn't really all put together nicely anymore. Very consumed with the usage of all the little devices. I thought there weren't that many, maybe 2 or 3, but it seems everyone has one these days. But the one he has keeps a journal and is all about that. Very difficult to get any coherent answers from him.
You're talking about the time devices.
Aye.
Who told you that is what altered his memory?
Well, I've only just been piecing things together. I think it's tough to get a straight answer from anyone, including Ranerius or really anyone in exactly.
Aurelius is eccentric,
Right.
and Aurelius sometimes believes what he wants to believe. He's a good man, trust me, but which is why it worries me that he is worried and feels that he is in trouble, because for Aurelius to get to that state means that something has gone terribly wrong. Yes, I worked with your father in the library.
Oh.
Back during the first Mage Wars.
Oh, right. I see. They sound like terrible times from what I understand.
Again, I feel like I don't know what has complicated his memory like this, but or why he's unsure. He helped create the time devices.
Oh. Wow. Oh, I didn't even know that either.
Well, the next time you see him, the two of you will have a lot to catch up on if he remembers. That does concern me. I don't know why he wouldn't, but I do know that the library was getting a bit cautious of him towards the end, before I left. He was still there when I decided to leave, and things were getting a little interesting.
Do you have any idea why Geneva would have sent me here to see you?
I don't know. What are you needing?
Well, that's a complicated question. Honestly, I don't know if Pyxrin, do you still have a healing that you can offer to Cullem? I don't want to rush you out of bed, Cullem, but it sounds like whatever's affecting our friend is fairly severe. Do you suppose we could heal you up a bit and you could show us how to remove that stuff? Shaker from him.
Well, healing would help, but it's not, won't get me all the way. And they were able to get quite a bit out of me, so I know enough about myself to know that. But I would say by tomorrow we could probably get that done. Absolutely.
Pyxrin's gonna like smack him in the Caszeel in the arm a little bit. Be like,
Oh, what?
how dare you tell an old man right after he's opened his eyes to get out of bed?
Well, he's not that old. He's probably a fraction of my age.
I don't care. He's still healing.
How
Do you want to cut? And she'll turn back around towards Cullem and you want to cut him my my little owl cat pet?
that is an interesting specimen. Where did you have the group of you been to Dem Glemte?
Not I.
That's not where we got the owl. We've been Dem Glemte.
Yeah,
but,
you weren't in there,
I
Teagan.
know, yeah,
You're
I know,
gone.
I forgot.
You're gone.
That's
I
it.
forgot.
That's it.
I forgot.
Have the group of you been to Dem Glemte?
I'll just look at pictures.
Because that,
Not I.
my friend, is a creature from Dem Glemte. And if you found it here in the plains, that
Wait. So,
he kind of settles
mind is
back and looks
blown.
a little bit exasperated, almost like he has a pincer. You know, just like things are a little more topsy-turvy than what they ought to be, it seems. Yes. Yes. That, let me see, Stephanie, can you find
she'll describe the area that she found the creature and describe, their journey here.
That's it's a songbird in Dem Glemte. So you said it was around a portal, like they were close to a portal of sorts. They were.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. There was a bunch of them up in the trees and stuff, and I tried to feed a couple of them, and only one stayed. Surprisingly, my horse hates me. I don't know how this thing. Oh, his name is Garnet.
Garnet, it is a pleasure, and he will kind of bow his head a bit, and Pyxrin, you'll feel you'll kind of like feel a little bit shift in the little owl cat on your shoulder, and Garnet, and it will kind of bow a little bit as well back.
Oh, you bowed. Scritch, 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 scritch. Do you want to give him some cuddles?
Well,
Roll for attack. No, I'm just kidding.
sure. I will. Let's maybe later, when I'm not lying in bed, for it to poop all over me.
Oh yeah.
Might want to wash off the back of your cloak at some point.
Oh, I just thought it was you, Pyxrin. Ah, that makes more sense. Thought you had a smelly arse today.
Where? Oh,
We'll go over to Zephyr. What are you doing?
Zephyr's still reading the vampire book.
Okay, make a
Oh no.
make an intelligence check to see how much you can pick up from this.
Mm, 14.
Okay. Yeah, as you're flipping through this Red Tide vampire book, you can tell again that it's a study on vampires. Also, make a wisdom saving throw for me as well, Zephyr. You can let me know that in a bit.
Okay.
But what you pick up from the book with that roll You can see a few suggestions on how to spot a vampire. That they are very, very pale-skinned. Most of them will not eat human food. They usually avoid sunlight and mirrors and reflective surfaces, and they don't cast any shadows. And they're also, it says that in some places that they're obsessed with stones or other objects, so they'll have like a specific object that they will collect obsessively. Dispatch them. You can. It doesn't give a lot here. It gives some like first, like almost like fifth or sixth person accounts of like, you know, just stories being passed down of like, you know, someone encountering a vampire in their home and dispatching it by locking it in a room and filling, you know, and dumping, you know, throwing water under the door, and then, you know, the water was holy water, and the tales seem very outlandish and very kind of like, I don't know, even Zephyr would probably be, And then there are a few things where, you know, it says that, you know, a wooden stake through the heart, mustard seeds thrown at the vampire, and also mixing decapitated or staked vampire's blood into bread and eating it. And also objects or doors of iron will help to ward you off from vampires. Or keep vampires away. Yeah, whatever. But yeah. That's what you pick up. What was your wisdom saving throw?
It was an 18.
Got you. Cool. Yep. Yeah, okay. That's what you get.
Are you sure you should still be reading that, Zephyr?
Oh yeah, that's right. Ranerius is standing over you.
Maybe you should. I'm sort of straddling the doorway and
Okay,
straddling like in the
okay,
hall to see if
okay.
anyone's coming.
Sure.
Just the vampires in blood.
You haven't moved in a while. I'm concerned for you.
Did you just hiss at him?
Yeah.
It's probably fun.
And keeps reading.
Well then, you try not to touch anything else. I think I might go for help.
Love.
All right. So as you turn from the door to go and get help, we'll go to Teagan. Teagan, what are you up to?
First, if I see on the way out of the bedroom, if I see John and Lyric, do I see them?
John and Lyric are in the, coming out of the bedroom, coming from that hallway that leads to the bedroom, you come out in the kitchen area that connects to the living room. I think you would have known that Lyric at least and John usually have been kind of hanging out in the living room area. But you will come down into the kitchen area and see Deft busily making some tea and assembling some cups on a tray. Oh, it sounded like that he woke up?
Yes. Is John around?
Oh, I believe that they're in the next room. Thick as thieves, those two. It's quite adorable.
Thank you. And
I wasn't. Okay. So as you enter into the living room and hear as you're exiting the kitchen the sound of like teacups clinking down onto a platter as Deft is getting some tea ready. You enter the living room, and I think Jurble ended here too. I think Jurble was sitting on the couch reading at the time. So Jurble's sitting. So you come into the room. John's just kind of looking at something on a shelf, kind of standing there casually. On the couch, on one end is Jurble, looking at his book, and the other end is Lyric looking at a different book, of course, with this huge space between them. Oh. John turns to you. Teagan.
It appears Cullem has awoken. He is up and talking. If he's still in bed, he's still very weak, but he is
Sure.
talking. So thought I'd come in and tell you. And Jurble, if you want to go in there and maybe talk to him as well if you want to.
I'll let him, Jurble, I'll let him rest for a few moments before I go in there, I think.
Okay.
Um,
Look, where's Ranerius at? And Zephyr, I guess.
At this time, where are you going, Ranerius, to get help? Are you going downstairs?
I would likely go downstairs or where I think people would be.
Okay. So you would hear someone coming down the steps, and but the steps come down kind of into the kitchen area too. There's a hallway that comes down to the sitting room, but you would hear someone coming down the steps from the upstairs as you ask that, Teagan. John will, as you're asking, just kind of maybe upstairs.
Okay.
But thank you.
you.
How many people are in the room? I don't want to overcrowd it.
Right now, just Caszeel and Pyxrin.
I'll wait until they're done to speak.
Okay. All right, just thought I'd let you know. And I'll turn to the stairs, and I guess I'll see Ranerius?
Yes. Yeah. You can go back to the kitchen area, go through the hallway, and you'll be able to see the stairs, yes.
Okay. I'll let Ranerius know that Cullem is now awake.
Oh, that is wonderful news. On a slightly less good note, Zephyr is reading a book, and he hissed at me. I'm not quite sure what to make of it.
Okay.
I do know that the book that he's looking at is magical, and he seems pretty absorbed in the content of it.
Interesting. Oh, dear. Okay.
I don't know if I've ever heard him hiss before.
I think that's the first one for me too. I don't know what that means. He usually finds the words to try to express himself. Doesn't seem very Zephyr-like. I don't know. All right. Anyway, what room is the episode? Maybe I'll take a look at it.
You need to go up the steps, and it's make a left, and it's on the left, right? It's somewhere up
on
there.
the right.
I tell you where the room is.
On the right is the
Okay.
library. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, I would just be careful.
Okay. So Teagan, you're going upstairs.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
So yeah, you go up the stairs, go to the right, and you would see Zephyr sitting on the floor in the library, looking at a red-covered book.
I will sort of lean myself against the doorway. Sort of arms crossed, one foot over the other. Zephyr, what you got there?
Just hold it up so you can see it. Put it back down my lap.
It might interest you to know that the man you've come all this way to see is awake now. Then you might want to talk to him. Cullem is awake.
Thank you for arranging this meeting.
You know, those things, they have bookmarks for those things where you can stop what you're doing and come back to it.
I'm just gonna hold the book again and point to the word vampire, and then go back to reading.
It's amazing.
So Teagan, are you just standing there with Zephyr, or?
Teagan will sigh, turn around. Well, I tried.
Okay. So you're heading back downstairs.
Yep, I'm heading back downstairs.
Okay. All right. Ranerius, what are you doing after telling Teagan?
If he tells me Cullum's awake, I'm gonna go see Cullum.
Okay. So you go down the little hallway to the bedroom, and you'll see Caszeel and Pyxrin standing there. Pyxrin is kind of looking like over her shoulder at her cloak, and the owls the owl cat's like shifting on her shoulders, Garnet shifting on her shoulders a bit, trying maybe even like hopping on top of her head as she is like jostling around.
Out of character, as I've been walking around the house, have I seen the photographs or paintings of Z and Cullum, or who we think is Z and Cullum?
Make a perception check.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would have at least seen the one like coming up the steps, because that one's huge. And like
That's a 7.
starting, okay, so you would have at least seen the one
No.
on the staircase, because that one's the biggest one, going from floor to almost to the ceiling, maybe about a foot or so, a foot and a half away from the ceiling.
And that is a picture of Z as we know him, or
No, this is a picture. Nothing has been solidified. It's a
okay,
picture
sorry.
of two young men in about like 20s to 30s range. One has like short cropped like blonde hair with a little bit of a mustache. The other has more kind of like wavy brown hair with a little bit fuller, like a close cut beard and a mustache. But they're dressed in kind of not really rose, but very kind of flowy, kind of colorful outfits. In this picture specifically, they look a little more elegant. They look very. I would say that you'd probably also would have seen the one in the bedroom too, which isn't as big. About medium-sized painting, but this one on the staircase is definitely more regal looking than the one in the bedroom. The one in the bedroom has just like a wooden frame. This one on the staircase has a very thick gold elaborate frame on it. They're dressed more elaborate, sitting in a couple of chairs that are side by side to each other. They do have their arms kind of folded over each other in a very loving way. And seems to be, even though it's a painting, it seems to be very candid.
And does this younger dude look anything like the Zenfried Ranerius has seen in visions?
Make an intelligence check.
Don't fail me now. 21.
You got this.
Okay.
Nice.
Ranerius, that is a yes. The one with the close cut blonde hair and kind of the mustache with a little bit of stubble. Yeah, this is the person you've been seeing in your dreams.
Noted. Cool. Yeah, all right. Into the room.
Okay, so you go in there and you see, again, what I described before.
Yep. Oh, hello, sir. And they're in mid conversation right now. I probably wouldn't interrupt.
No, it was a quiet moment at the time. Pyxrin was just trying to like look on her cloak to see if there's any poop on it. Garnet, the owl cat's like sitting kind of like, sitting on her head. And Caszeel is just kind of like looking at her probably.
Yeah, I was teasing her about having a smelly arse.
Yeah, yep. Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Might I introduce myself? My name is Ranerius. Sim. Hello.
Ranerius Sim, you say. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It is likewise. I have a myriad of questions for you, but I know you just woke up, and I wouldn't want to burden
He'll take
them.
reach over and get another sip of his water. It has been already a trying hour, but you're a mage, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. What are your questions? Or at least a few of them. I'll see if I can answer any of them.
Where do I start? I regret to inform you that I've been looking around your house. We were looking for possible enemies, and we didn't want to be too careless in our.
Kind of hold up a hand. It's all right. I've already been informed. I've already let these two know that I can barely fault you. You saw an old man unconscious, possibly dying, and it's fine. I understand the adventuring type.
Well, as we've been on an incredible journey through your home here, we've come across various things, the crystals, like we've come in contact to in the past, and then there's pictures in your house of a man who looks very, very familiar to me. I've seen him in visions.
He'll point out to the picture that's right there up by his bed. That's the medium-sized one. The other one that you would have noticed before.
Yes.
This.
Then is his name Zenfried?
Oh, which one are you talking about?
Well, the one with the blonde hair and the mustache.
How do you know Zenfried?
I've seen him in a vision. He's told me various things, and well, I was told to find him. At one point, he mentioned your name. But again, a lot of the information in these visions, it seemed like it was garbled. It was muffled. It was very, very sparse.
May I ask when you saw these visions, lad?
Oh, it's
years ago.
I believe there were within the past 2 weeks or so.
You'll see his expression become very. I mean, this entire time he's been he's been looking tired, and even though his age well, at least that Pyxrin and Caszeel saw that his age kind of reduced a bit as he was waking up. He still looked tired with like these bags under his eyes, and the two of you, if you're watching him, and Ranerius, as you're looking at him, as you're asking him this question, as you mention Z, and his expression immediately like lightens, and then when you mention that it was just a couple of days ago, about the that you saw the vision just a few days ago, it drops. That's he'll kind of like try to reach back for his glass of water, and you'll see his hand kind of like shaking a bit. Does anyone try to like help him get his glass of water?
Yeah,
okay. Because he is struggling.
I think Ranerius would be too engrossed
and
in
then
whatever information
he would
coming
like,
at him.
and you'll see him like take the water. Thank you, and he will, kind of like shakily take a drink. That's yes. That's what was the question again, lad?
I'm not quite sure what the question was. It was just alarming to me that I've seen this man in my visions, and now I see him here. And well, who is he? I know nothing about him except his name is Zenfried.
What is he saying in your visions?
He said to find you. He said to Well, I saw him against a black splash of gloom and darkness and chaos, and it was very confusing. But to find you was the most clear thing to me.
Right. Sure.
And I'm trying to look up my notes out of character on these visions.
Scanning.
Scramble, scramble, scramble.
Scanning.
Input.
Enhance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zephyr Zion is his name. Yes, that is, and he'll kind of motion up to the portrait. That's him. He was a very, kind of look up at it, a very powerful wizard. And someone very dear to me.
I remember now. He said something about time devices bringing calamity to the world. But again,
That they will if they go unchecked and in the wrong hands, which I can always guarantee that you and he'll kind of motion to Pyxrin, your drow friend, probably has one of them. I had one here in the house, and I'm almost certain that's what he was after.
What, can we check and see where you had it to see if it's gone? And did it have sand with it? Or did you store the sand separately for safety?
It kind of looks around at the
Some say
house.
it's gun safety. You lock up
I
the...
mean, usually, I'm not too worried about safety here.
Sure.
I was surprised that they got all the way. Takes another drink. Yes. Actually, I had it stored in a drawer, in a room upstairs.
I take a look.
Yes, would you like to know where before you go up there? And this be bottom drawer, middle drawer, one of the drawers in the cabinet in the art room.
Right.
You'll know when you see it.
Right. I'll fix my scarf and run up there.
Okay. All right. So that's while you do that.
Scarf
Pyxrin
billowing
secretly
behind you.
hopes he trips on his scarf when he does that.
Nice. I trip a little bit, and then I look back real quick, and I fix it again.
Ranerius, he'll look back to you, Ranerius. I'm sorry, your story has made me, I'll be frank with you, lad. I haven't heard from Zephyr and Zephyr in quite some time. It is surprising to me.
do you know where he is nowadays?
He's been missing for over a decade. Or around a decade. You lose time after a while.
A short while ago, a few weeks ago, actually, we came across a man who lived in a magical hut, who went by the name of Z. But he gave me this, and I'm going to pull out one of the books Z gave me that were authored by Zenfried Zion. Specifically, The Magic of Ozberghen.
Are you just holding it up for him to see it?
Yeah. I'm quite unclear as to whether Z is the Zenfried Zion.
Can
the
I?
author
And he
of this
holds
book.
out a shaky hand. Can I see it, lad?
Of course. And I will. Are you strong enough to hold it at present?
Just hold it out in your hand.
All right, and I hold it out.
And he'll just hold up his hand, and it will magically lift from your hand and go into, and just shakily a bit, like you can tell the magic's definitely, he's a bit tired, so it kind of shakily goes over to his lap and lays down. Yes, Dan. God.
Here you go.
So you'll see him kind of look down at the book for a moment and not really do anything. And then he'll kind of open it up and start flipping through some of the pages. And yes, this is his. Yes.
And a decade ago, did he? He's obviously not the young man in these pictures here. But did he look like? And I'm going to describe the man we saw in the house and what he looks like now.
And he will actually almost belly laugh and kind of go into a coughing fit. And you kind of see him look up with this smile, and it's a very, I guess, beautiful smile for, I guess, someone of his age, but Zenfrey was always a bit of an eccentric. It wasn't bald, right? Yeah, he was bald.
He was bald.
That was him. Well, wait. When did you see this? When did you meet Z?
Oh, it was four or so, 6 weeks ago. So time sometimes.
Timey-wimey weeks ago.
It's been a heck of a month.
Sure.
And a half, maybe.
Sorry, that was a Stephanie laugh, not.
Nope, canon. That's called.
Right.
Awesome.
It was on the outskirts of Bern where we found him.
Z was a character Zenfrey sometimes created of himself to make him look like that, to throw people off. But what did you say your name was?
My name is Ranerius.
Ranerius, I don't know why you, but you see, it's been over a decade that I've last heard of Z, and I've sent people to do extensive searching in that time. Nothing's been found. I don't I mean, he could be out there, I guess, and under disguise. Maybe. He'll kind of look back up at the painting and maybe.
It seems like the two of you were close. Is there a reason he might be hiding? It would seem odd that a wizard of his capability would reveal himself to a ragtag group like us.
Well, you didn't know Zephyr. He was, again, eccentric, but adventurous spirit. No, I don't really know of a reason he would need to be hiding from everyone. I don't know a reason that he wouldn't reach out to myself in 10 years. But either what you saw was an elaborate illusion he had set up, or actually him. I'm not...
Could an illusion present me with magical things to read at my leisure? He gave us things and then sent us away, but it was a strange day.
He was very, very powerful. And especially when it came to illusion magic and the like. If you don't mind, I think I do need to lie down a bit.
Yes, I'm sorry if this news has brought you discomfort.
You can, in the past couple of minutes, he's become very kind of like almost disassociate a bit. How about dinner in a couple of hours?
Of course. Is there anything we can do to help you at present?
No, I just need some rest. But thank you.
Very well.
And he will I'm gonna have to change the name of this.
Oh, so you sharing?
He's got a memory wipe.
No, when you can't. No, I had something. So he calls out, Chris, and another spirit appears. This one, looks, as far as you can tell, Caszeel and Ranerius and Pyxrin, who are still in the room, you can see that it looks, from the features that you can see in this spirit, looks like an older gentleman, standing a bit short, with a bit of a stocky build, but dressed in these robes. Chris, would you mind showing these to their to the guest quarters, please? I can meet you for dinner in 2 hours. I just need a nap. Chris nods and looks to the three of you. Just follow me.
Left, just
And we'll step out of the room. And as all of you leave, you'll hear the door shut behind you. So Chris is going to go to the, let's see here. He'll go to the bottom of the steps. I can wait for you here. If you want to gather everyone, and when you're ready to move into the guest quarters, where you can wait for the master to Yeah.
Of course. And I'm going to grab my key and just tell everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. Gather in the foyer. Where is the staircase? Living room?
The staircase, it kind of goes like there's a hallway that goes to the front door. But yeah, it's kind of kind of goes off the kitchen. The house so far that you've seen has been very kind of like haphazardly kind of like strewn together. But yeah, so it comes off of the kitchen, off of the main hallway.
And just to add, I had left a little earlier to look for the
Okay.
key, so I wouldn't. Oh,
Oh, that's right. You did. I'm sorry, Caszeel. So we'll actually go to Caszeel, who ran upstairs. Do you know where the art room's at, Caszeel? Did you go to it before?
Gosh, I think the only room I went through is the library. So if I didn't pass it before, I just
Okay.
peek in rooms to see which one looks
Okay.
like.
All right.
an
Do you
art
go
room.
right or left first?
I
Okay.
guess right.
Okay. So you go up right, which is where you've been
Mhm.
before.
Mhm.
So you see the library is the first room you pass. The second room you pass is the alchemy room, and then of
Wait,
course you
Zephyr.
recognize the bedroom. There. And yeah, you would see Zephyr sitting on the floor reading a red covered book.
Okay. Just give him a wave as I go by.
And
wave as I go back if it's not there.
yeah, it's not there. So you go to the left side, and actually the first room there are two closed doors here, but the first room you come to is open, and the room is dark inside, but the light coming in from the hallway, you see an easel on one side with some elaborate carpets on the floor. Not a huge room, but as you step in and you look up, it just kind of like disappears into darkness where the ceiling should be. And on the walls, you can see a bit of like frames with maybe paintings in them that just kind of are framed, like butted up frame against frame on all the walls going straight up into the darkness. You would see the easel with the paints and stuff there. And then there's I think like one armoire to the right with 4 drawers in it. And I would say that a couple of the drawers seem a little like jostled, like they've been open. And then in front of the armoire, there's some stuff that's kind of strewn about the floor as if stuff's been taken out or maybe even left there. Maybe even that's how they just kept the room. But yeah, looks a little haphazard though.
Okay. Well, I'll paw through whatever drawers it sounded like he was talking about, and I have dark vision in case that makes a difference.
Yes, Teagan.
Did I see him come up the stairs?
Oh, where were you again?
I had just left Zephyr. With the vampire.
You had
book.
left Zephyr the vampire book. Well, I would say that was probably like back in time a bit.
Okay. So in that case, if I didn't see anything, I'll just head downstairs and probably sit on the sofa.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that would have been before. You would have left the library before you went up there.
All right, no problem.
So I just missed him. Yeah. So yeah, Caszeel, you being able to see in the dark, you can. How far does that go? It's about what 60? That goes 60.
60 feet.
Okay. Yeah. The ceiling still just goes up into darkness. Like you still can't see the ceiling, and just paintings just going all the way up. The paintings, you can see a little bit of the paintings since you have dark vision. Some of them are landscapes, some of them are portraits. All seem, I mean, from the limited vision you have with dark vision, seem maybe in about the same style.
Okay.
All right, so you go over to the drawers and start looking through them?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a perception check for me.
Right, good. That's a good one on this. All right, 16 plus 8 for perception, so 24.
Okay. All right, so as you look through these 4 drawers, I won't go through every drawer, but, you'll find some paint supplies. I think there's like a whole drawer of paint. There's a whole drawer of like rags and different kinds of cloths that have little like paint speckles on them. You'll find a drawer of like painting tools and supplies. And in the bottom drawer, you find that it seems a little empty. And you have a few things around there as well. But yeah, you don't see a time device in this entire armoire.
I guess I'll just check on very quickly on the floor or anywhere where something
Okay.
might have gotten knocked out in case
Well,
they didn't recognize.
We'll keep
what it
your
was.
perception check, and you don't
Oh.
find any time device on the floors, that you recognize it as either.
Then I'll head back downstairs to let everyone know.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I will say as you head back downstairs, you would see Teagan and Ranerius and Pyxrin exiting the hall where the bedroom is, and the door closed, and this kind of ghostly, short spirit just kind of standing there at the bottom of the steps.
Pardon me. I'll just kind of walk around the ghost.
They just kind of nod at you.
And I'll just head over to everyone.
Okay. So is everyone gathering at the steps then? Zephyr is still sitting there?
Did Zephyr hear
Yeah,
me call over the...
yeah, I guess if you used your pendant, Zephyr
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zephyr's there, but Zephyr also brought the book.
Okay, so you see
Nice.
Zephyr slowly come down the steps, red book in
Reading.
hand. Yeah. Uh-huh. Make another wisdom saving throw for me, please, Zephyr.
19.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're... You have a little indigestion, Zephyr. A little indigestion. Yeah. Something's bugging you, but you just can't put your finger on it. Okay, so the group is here, is this, and we'll say that seeing the rest of you, did anyone tell Deft and John and Larrick what was happening since they couldn't hear the mind conversation? The brain talk.
Mhm.
Did anyone tell John and Larrick or Deft? Okay, all right. So,
Oh wait. Well, no, that's right. Never mind.
Chris would look around.
I mean,
I wasn't there.
I don't know. I think Ranerius was set on calling everyone, so I don't think he would have even thought.
We'll say that Jurble, I rolled for Jurble, so that Jurble might have would say something to John and Larrick since he was in the room with them and Deft in passing. Or maybe John and Larrick would have said something to Deft. So you have the whole group here gathered at the steps. Chris, the spirit will look around. Is this your entire party?
Perhaps?
We'll look around really
I
quick.
believe
Who are you
I
missing?
believe it's everyone.
No, I just don't know if I want to
Okay,
answer the
Oh, okay,
spirit and tell
okay.
them everyone's here. Yeah.
All right,
Like,
okay.
why do you want to know if it's all of us?
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
The spirit will nod. Oh, that's right, because you don't really know, do you? You don't have any idea what the spirit is. The spirit will nod and turn and go up the steps and wave a hand, and the large portrait will slide to the side, revealing, you can see through, revealing a doorway that leads into this very large dining room.
Oh, well, that's grand.
Let me pull up my stuff here. Yes, very large with a high ceiling. God, I have so many Pinterest things open. I had the right image here, and then now it's gone. Now it's gone. Okay, yeah. So with this long dining room table, everything is, the chairs and the table. There's even this like grand fireplace that's made in stone. But the table and the chairs are made kind of with almost like an interesting combination of stone and wood. And with this kind of like high vaulted ceiling that also has a balcony that kind of goes around the edge to different doors. this also, the dining room kind of like leads right into this kind of grand sitting room with another large stone fireplace. You can definitely wait here for the master to be done, and in 2 hours' time we will be serving dinner.
Are there any snacks or appetizers before that comes out?
As you ask that, Caszeel, you look to your left, and there's a cart with
Oh,
some snacks and appetizers on it. And oddly enough, it's some of, like, as you go over and look at the cart, it's some of your favorite kinds of snacks and appetizers.
nice. Thank you.
Turkish delight.
Please.
Well, somebody was a favorite child.
The spirits will nod and then just kind of turn and disappear into a wall. The door has been kept open, so you can go into Cullem's house still, but yeah, the dining table, of course, is set, but there's no food on the table. But you do have this. I would say you would also have a little kind of bar area as well in this room that is stocked. And the sitting area down at the end has a, I would say, as the group of you are standing here, the fireplace has come to life with this like large fire inside. And you'll see 2 staircases leading up to the top balconies. Oh, the spirit will kind of like duck back in. The rooms are on the 2nd floor. Each of you can be free to take your own.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Nod and turn and kind of disappear to the wall again.
Gonna take a few snacks and walk over to the bar. Probably
Okay.
use some prestidigitation to make the fire do some fun thing, change color to a nice red and purple for a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and start pouring some drink. I'll get behind the bar like a little, pretending I'm a bartender. Who wants a drink?
If you'll all excuse me, I have some studying I need to do. I will see you for dinner.
All right, lad. Take care.
Where are you going,
Study up.
Ranerius? Are you going to the sitting area or are you going up to a room?
I want to go upstairs to a room, and I want to start scribing from the scroll of locate person that I have into my spellbook.
Okay. All right. So as you go upstairs, you pick a room and you open the door. It opens up into this very nice bedroom with these kind of steepled ceiling with these wood beams. A very nice bed with all of these blankets over top of it, fur and pelted, and some of them just, cloth. You have a few pillows. There's also a corner of the room that is almost like a panel glassed in area that a door is open and you can see inside, and there is along with some plants and a window that is showing a kind of an evening light to it. There's with the plants, there's a stone, almost maybe like a natural hot tub. Or natural, we'll say a natural hot tub. So the water, as soon as you step in, the water starts boiling in the hot tub, or starts bubbling, and the fireplace comes to life.
This is quite lovely. I wish I could study like this all the time.
All right.
And I will get to work. It's a 4-hour process, so I'm gonna take a break in the middle to eat,
All right, sure.
but
That's
probably
fine.
finish it up later in the night.
Sure.
And I have all the supplies that I need. So
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so back downstairs to the rest of you. Cazeel's serving drinks. I would say that Deft would probably be definitely in on a drink, as well as Lyric and John. So they will kind of get around the bar area and make small talk with each other and with you, Caszeel, and anyone else around. Zephyr, are you still reading your book?
Yeah.
All right, just kind of standing there in the dining room, or do you go over to the sitting area?
first we'll get a drink, and then we'll head over to the.
Ooh, what are you
swimming
getting?
pool.
What are you making, Caszeel? Are you making anything specific?
Oh, drinks?
Yeah.
Or just in general? Yeah. I've heard of a morning sunrise. Gosh, I've been around so long. I probably have a pretty good collection of booze and mixed drinks to make. So I'll kind of feel everyone out, see what they want, and make something according to whether colorful or minty or whatever it is I feel like they might like.
Okay. All right. Pyxrin, what are you up to?
I was flipping through notes. She is going to. She's gonna go to the bar and order 2 shots of vodka, and then start having like a mixed drink afterwards. But she's gonna sip that one like slow, like she's going slower after she did the 2 shots.
Okay.
She's not really talking to anybody. She's really, really quiet, which is kind of weird because, she's loud and obnoxious and just talkative.
Mm.
And so she's just really quiet when she's drinking.
Okay. All right. And Teagan, what are you up to?
Teagan's gonna sort of walk up to Deft and just say, well, something's been, I don't know, I'm curious.
Yes, friend.
I know how we got here. How did you get here?
I would assume that I traveled here the same way that you did.
Through the forest and
Yeah.
over the chasm?
Yes.
Just walked right in.
Yes.
Right through the waterfall, no problem.
I mean, there was a problem. I mean, the dragon was quite surprising, but... Are you suspecting me of something?
Well, it was kind of difficult for us. And there were
Sure.
a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you just sort of just didn't seem to have any problems. I'm just want to know what your secret is.
My secret is that I keep an eye out for myself always.
So do I. So do I. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm still getting an air of suspicion about me, and it's
Oh,
a bit...
don't mind me.
Okay.
Just when things don't make sense, I
Kind of takes a drink. Okay, alright, just, I'm not, you can ask Zephyr. We are old friends. I don't think that I don't feel like I need to prove myself here.
Oh, no. Oh, funny you should mention that. He seems like... we've been together for, a couple of weeks or so, but he's, like... I've never seen him like this. He's, like, enamored with this book. And when I asked him about it, he just pointed to it and said vampire.
Oh.
Since you've been friends with him for so long...
What are you reading there, Zephyr? I can't see it from you're all the way over there. What does it say? Zephyr?
I haven't heard anyone say it, so I can't say it.
Maybe you need to write it down. Do you need to write it down? Come over here.
Well,
Don't sigh at me, Zephyr. So, Daft will get out a pen and paper, a quill and paper from his bag, and kind of like forcefully like sit them down onto the bar. Here. What are you reading? Can I see it?
Show him the cover.
Red Tide. Okay. Here, write it down. What are you reading about?
Vampires. Literally, just
Are
writing
you
that down.
concerned about vampires, Zephyr?
Well, iron door. There's an iron door in the house.
Man.
Papers everywhere. lined up.
sleeping old person.
Are you saying
old
that,
of untold generations?
wait. This is deft. You're saying that you think that Cullem is a vampire. He's saying this aloud at the bar, so everyone else around the bar would hear him say this.
Worst case scenario, we die.
Well, his age kind of changed when he opened his eyes. She gulps down another part of her drink.
Seems to be working.
I. Okay.
Side effects.
All right. Well, I don't know. Caszeel, what do you
Did a
think?
little research myself.
Caseel's just like, oh my gosh.
I haven't seen the old man yet. Do you think? Well, since he's woken up, do you think that Cullem could be a vampire?
All we'd have to do is just, I mean, I've heard things about vampires. I don't know if they're true or not, but you hold a mirror up, they can't kind of see their own reflection, right?
Don't scribble down. No shadow.
Oh no, all right. I mean, right? We could just
And
take
I
a
haven't
peek.
seen any mirrors in the house.
It's true.
That's a good point.
Not that I've pointed out.
Caseel's.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'm gonna have...
And there's an iron door.
Would y'all make?
Hey, I'm a little slow. Okay.
Okay.
But we can easily test it, I'm sure. Oh, I should mention on a different note that he had a time device, and it was stolen likely by Varus, was it?
Oh,
Pyxrin?
so it was stolen. I was afraid of that.
Where was it?
He said that it was somewhere in an art room, so I took a wee peek through there. In one of the drawers in an armoire that was just inside the art room.
Zephyr will go.
Still a better love story than
I
Twilight.
don't know if I have. I don't think I actually have that. No. But Zephyr is gonna all of a sudden run out of the room towards the library.
Okay. All right.
Where all
So
those little
as
journals are.
all of
On my
you
turn.
are just standing there watching Zephyr just all of a sudden just run out of the dining room back into Cullem's house and up the staircase to the left. That's where we'll go to our bio break. A little bit late. So for those watching, we take a 10-minute bio break. So stay tuned or go and get your own snacks, refill some water, and join us in a bit. All right, see ya.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Real though, it's vampire.
I feel like he feels like, oh, everyone's feeding in, and then feels Zephyr's like, don't. Alright, I guess I better snack.
I accidentally started the timer over, but
Oh, I was like, what? I could have sworn I was fast enough.
we were down to like, 250, I think.
Really? Yeah, I do need to be faster then.
You weren't the only one, so I think you're fine.
Looks like the might have to tweak the volume of.
I fixed it.
Oh.
It's okay. I got you, Bill. Alright, we'll give Melissa a couple of minutes. Alright.
Sorry, I was late.
Oh no, you're fine.
Yep.
You're okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. I think we're ready, as we'll ever be. And 3, 2, 1. Alright, we're back. Alright. So, everyone is, so y'all just saw Zephyr run out of the room towards the library. Zephyr, what are you doing?
Would like to flip through any and all the journals that I had brought in there, seeing
Oh,
if
in the
there's
secret
any.
room.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Righty. That's, yeah,
Seeing
okay.
if I've
What do you-
missed any secret-y things or anything
Okay.
where that device could be stashed.
Oh, okay. So, are you looking for, like, keyword time device or time in any of the...
Yeah,
books?
sure. I don't know, or if there's like a cutout that the time device is just sitting in.
Okay. Is that more what you're looking for? All right. So make a perception check for me, please.
Perception check. That's a 21.
Okay. All right. So you flip through these kind of journal-like books that you picked up, and you're talking about the ones that you removed from the drawer
Art
in
room.
the painting in the art room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're flipping through these, and these definitely look like hand-bound journals. Most of them have leather covers on them. As you're flipping through, with that kind of high perception check, you definitely don't see any cutouts with like the time device, and you definitely can look at these books and kind of see that these aren't thick enough to like.
Right, yeah, stash
Well, wait a
something
minute.
in.
Yeah, because Zephyr's seen a time device before, I think. So like, yeah, you would know that like they're just not, because it's like a sphere of sorts. So it's definitely not thick enough to have something stashed in them. And you're flipping through these, and you're kind of looking for keywords. You do see, let's see here. Let me see which ones of these are actually, you do see mentions of the time devices in one of the journals. But as you, if you stop and you kind of take a look, it seems like he's talking about, when they were created, like that Wilhelm was mentions Wilhelm about that and Cullem, while not directly affecting like the invention of the time devices. He definitely was present at the library when they were being developed. And that's pretty much, I mean, other than other random mentions that aren't really about placement as much as just like specific placement of the one that he owns as just like their placement, how that they were created and that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, and then I would say that you would also kind of pick up, like, as you're perusing through these, that it seems almost like maybe a life account of Cullum's life. And also, as you get, like, a couple of those, oh my gosh, a couple of those are mostly about Cullum. And other places, you do see a mention of, as you're flipping through, you would also see quite a few pages with Fairweather in it. You would also, as you're getting farther into these books, because they are dated inside the cover, you get farther into these, like 5 or 6 journals that you picked up. You would start seeing, well, no, not farther. Actually, around the time that Fairweather's being mentioned, you would start seeing Zephyr mentioned as well. Well, at first it, he writes of like, Zion, and then says Siegfried Zion, and then we'll eventually start like just saying Zephyr. And you definitely pick up that it seems like that the two of them had a relationship, very heavy at times, not so heavy at others, but they definitely had a deep affection for each other.
On again, off again.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's the I would say that as you get towards the last book, most of the last book is about, it mentions, you'll pick up keywords of Fairweather, Dem Glemte, library, but a lot of mention of Zephyr, more in that one than most of the other books.
Okay. I will. I'll just take that one journal with all the mentions of Zephyr and Fairweather and all of that.
All right.
Because that seems the most interesting.
Okay.
I'll run back down the stairs and up the other stairs.
Okay.
To that armoire, and I want to give it the full secret compartment treatment again.
I thought you did that before. Make an investigation check.
Investigation is -1. It's a 16.
Okay. Yeah, you don't find anything different than you did before.
Okay. Okay. Bummed out. Zephyr will just start looking at the paintings.
Okay. Yeah, you see a lot of different... Zephyr, make an intelligence check for me, please.
Oh, don't make me do it. Not the strong suit. 14.
Okay. I'm going to send you a secret message here.
Ooh. Secret message.
Okay, sent. All right, so going back down to the group, Ranerius is upstairs studying. It's been about probably like an hour by now. Do y'all have anything that you want to do until as you pass this second hour before dinner will be served?
Drink.
Wow.
Can I have a second one? Bartender.
Hey, what would you like again? What was that? What did you ask for, sorry?
It was. Oh, that's right. I just said about the 2 shots. What is that blue drink?
The
I don't know if I
wine?
could say that
Or
word
I
though
don't
on
know.
the stream.
Oh.
Hold on. It's not like a bad, but some. Okay, hold on. Let me type it.
Not the blue wine. And
It's in Zoom chat, but I don't know if I could say that last word on.
the blue boobulous? I'm just kidding.
We'll make it that one.
Right? Right. So it's a very soft and supple drink, you know. All mixed it up.
What?
That was so
Soft
descriptive.
and subtle drink. Yep.
They are very smooth.
Yep.
Spin a bottle or two.
I'm trying.
There you are.
She's like, are you trying to flirt?
When am I not?
You'll see.
Don't be sticking anything in any keyholes.
Nice. All right.
You'll see John and Larrick kind of sitting at the table, kind of like chatting amongst each other, drink in
All 3 of
hand.
them.
Deft is
Teagan.
perusing some books over near the sitting room. All right.
Oh, Zephyr does want to bring that journal
yeah.
back and show it to people.
Okay. All right. So Zephyr at this time comes into the room.
You're back. Everything all right? I'm Zephyr.
Just waving the journal excitedly.
Oh,
What'd you get? What'd you
found
get?
something?
Zephyr will hand it to Silvera.
Nice.
He just plops it down on the bar.
All right.
Ooh, she'll start opening it up.
Make a
and looking through
perception
it.
check for me.
Can I actually read in this state?
How drunk are you?
Right. Nope. I got an 8.
Oh no.
So yeah, you're flipping through
It's
this
upside down.
this leather-bound journal,
Whoops.
Pyxrin, Caszeel adjusting it so that it's not upside down for you anymore. And I mean, you do. It looks like you're kind of trying to make heads or tails of it. It seems like it's like a journal of someone you would assume Cullum's. But you can't really make out, like, you might see a mention of Zephyr in there. Yeah.
What is it?
She'll like flip through like 2 pages and like she doesn't answer anything, and she'll flip a few more and then she'll just close it and just slides it to Caszeel slowly.
Oh.
I have no idea. It seems to be a kind of journal somebody wrote. I think it's Cullum's, but
All right. There must be
just-
something in it, right? I'll start flipping through.
I guess. I mean, we've been snooping enough.
That's right.
She kind of side-eyes John when she says that.
Oh, John's.
Nice.
Let's see. John doesn't notice. He's too enamored with Larrick at the moment.
Oh,
God,
I'll
I
paw
gotta get
through
them
what I
married
can.
soon.
Oh, that's awesome.
Speaking of which, and she picks up her drink and starts walking towards them. Going,
Yes.
when's the wedding date?
I know the ceremony spell.
Oh, that's awesome.
You say that to John and Larrick.
I do. Out loud.
They both kind of like look up, kind of like they're kind of it's of course like seated side by side at the table and just kind of like leaned into each other, and Lara kind of laughs. I'm sorry?
Sure you
Oh,
are.
I fucked up. Oh.
No.
Slowly tries to move backwards.
John like shakes his head. No. I think we're just not really intending to get married. Doesn't really seem to suit us, I don't think. And Larry just kind of like shakes his head. Nah. But it would be nice. It would be. I'm sure that we would have a lovely ceremony. And John just nods and smirks. I'm sure we would.
He wants a wedding. He said the word ceremony.
Lyric's going to kind of like take a drink off to the side.
She's like totally trying to like hype him up and be like, oh yes. Get the hint, John.
John will kind of like look over at Lyric and just kind of look at him for a bit and look back at you. Well, maybe one day. When things settle down here, maybe then. Just for fun. And Lyric nod, of course. Just for fun. And he'll kind of like smirk at you.
Just starts giggling nonstop for like 5 seconds, and I'll take that as a yes. And she'll go back towards the bar and sit back down, and
you'll see them kind of like lean into each other again and just keep talking. Lyric, before you head over, Pyxrin, Lyric will kind of like, you'll kind of turn and start walking away, and Lyric's kind of turn, Pyxrin, so what is this about, and, you know, kind of lean in a bit towards you. What is this about this Varys fella?
Oh, her face immediately drops into the most blank. There's no expression on her face after he says that.
Why don't you sit down? Please.
She just plops down.
And they'll just kind of like both kind of like, you know, sit up a little bit straighter and just kind of like look at you, both concerned. I didn't mean to upset you. I just, you know, it seems like, I don't know. And he'll kind of look back at John. This is Lyric talking to you. It seems like you just aren't talking about it, I think. And I'm just, I'm concerned that you're not talking about it.
Oh, it's on purpose.
Oh, sure. I mean, I figured as much. I'm just... Look, you don't have to talk about it to us. Of course, we're, you know, John kind of... We're practically strangers to you. It's only our second time meeting, but I do hope that you're talking to someone. A friend. Confidant.
She kind of waves behind her towards like everybody else in the group. They all know. I get real nervous about saying anything, especially to new people or people I've only met once or twice before. And
sure.
Well, we used to be engaged.
Oh. Well. That's, quite dramatic. Unexpected.
He is a very traumatic person.
It seems like it. Are you, do you fear that you're in trouble? Do you think that he'll do anything?
she kind of lets out this. She gets a smirk on her face and just lets out this weird laugh, like. Yeah.
Oh.
He's already done so much, and I'm trying to. Well, anyway, I'm just glad that Cullum's fine, and her voice kind of gets a little shaky, and as she keeps drinking, and like her voice just gets shakier because she's getting more emotional, like the more she drinks and tries to talk about it, and I'm just glad that he's okay, and I apologize for. You know what? I don't apologize for him. He's an idiot.
I could almost guarantee that for sure.
I will help clean up the place a bit with the spider webs and stuff. I know a lot about spiders and, webs.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that Cullem will appreciate that. I just, again, I know that we're outsiders, but I just hope that, just protect yourself as much as you can.
I'm trying. I'm not sure that I'm doing a very good job considering it was here right before we were.
Sure.
Oops. But the owl cat was so cool.
John will kind of look.
She's like, I got distracted.
It is a very interesting creature.
They say it's from Dem Glemte.
Oh, well, that's. And you found it here, in this plane.
Yeah, like kind of in the same area where a portal was, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Like maybe creatures come in and out of the portals or something, and like kind of cross each other in the different planes, or just. She kind of starts babbling about that, and then she like takes another sip of her drink, and then gets super, super quiet again.
Yeah, that it can. Yeah, it's interesting. It can also be a sign that. Well, just like the griffin. You'll kind of look at Lyric. Oh, right, the griffin. Did you see the griffins in Lysadir?
Wait, aren't they? Where are they?
The babies.
No.
Yeah, they found a griffin in Lysadir, and there's a bunch of babies running around, smaller griffins. It's a creature from Dem Glemte.
She'll look back towards John with a puzzled look on her face, and what do you mean about it might be what?
It might be what? I'm sorry?
Like, the creatures crossing from different planes and stuff. It's either
well, I mean, I've
something bad happening, or
well, if the portals are being opened in a way that things are getting through without meaning to, that seems to me like a problem. Don't you think?
oh, that's not good. It's like whole armies can go through the portals.
Well, and that's how I assume most of the spirits are getting through. Something is going unchecked, or being opened for reasons unknown to us.
You think they might be a distraction?
I don't pretend to understand anything about Dem Glemte, nor do I honestly, and Lyric will start drinking again. Don't really want to get involved with Dem Glemte, honestly. It seems like, I mean, I enjoy working with the spirits here in the plane, but I fear I like being alive too much to want to get involved with a demi-plane.
Dangerous, got it. So when did you guys meet and how?
Oh, well, and he'll go into the story of how he and Lyric met. Very romantic. Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to do? So, Caszeel, you were looking at the book, correct? Did you pick up the book? I figured because you were looking at a book for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, make a perception check for me, please.
18 plus 8 is 26.
Not just any 18, and 18.
Yeah, it was 18.
Yes, so 26 total for sure. You would be able to pick up a bit. This book, it seems. Let's see here.
Is this the one with Wilhelm in it and everything?
Would this be the one that mentioned Wilhelm? No.
Like his work in the. Oh, okay.
No. What you're getting out of this one is you do read quite a few spots, especially towards the beginning of times spent with Zephyr between the two of them. You would also, with that roll, this would probably be the area where you would, the book that you would read something about creating you would see thoughts at first, and then descriptions on how they're going to do it, on creating a small demi-plane, where they've basically created dreamlike versions of themselves to inhabit this plane, to where when they dream, that's where they go.
Is there a name at all for this plane in the book?
No.
And does the rainfall mean? Okay.
Get out. Get out of my campaign. And Dan was kicked out again. Never invited back. No specific name, surprisingly. They just they would refer to it as their dream palace.
Okay.
And that's basically when they go to sleep, they inhabit these dreamlike these dreamlike copies of themselves. Not really, and it's interesting because it doesn't seem like that they're able to like have, like, they don't go there with like the knowledge or the heaviness, because they kind of were like, okay, well, the older we get, the more it's going to be going on. Something might happen. So they wanted to make it to where when they entered the space in their dreams, that they didn't have any current knowledge. Like, it was just in the state that they were during creation. So it's basically just to spend time together. And it's meant to last for, well, as long as the demi-plane lasts.
All right.
You would also see, you would read in here about Zephyr and Cullem and a few others founding a college in Fairweather, Mage College.
Mm-hmm.
And you would read several entries of like finding the teachers and just making making the Ozberghen as a whole aware of the college, that they were one of a few mage colleges in Ozberghen, but they wanted to become the most esteemed, and just kind of curating the town around the college. Yes. You would also read towards the end of the book. Up until that point, you would read about Cullem taking on an apprentice. Cullem ran the college as well as after creating it.
Oh.
And he took on an apprentice named Rinka. And he spoke very highly of her in the book. That she was a good student. She was a great protege of sorts. And she showed great promise. But then there were these siblings that started coming through the college, and their father joined the board, the Trinworths. The father seemed like, he noted that the father seemed like a good man, but the siblings were constantly in trouble, not for misbehaving per se, but for like testing the college limits. They showed great power, but and the more that they tried to cap them, as they were trying to cap them, the father kind of rose from like board to, head of the board to eventually, in a vote, replacing Cullem as the head of the college. So of course, capping the siblings on their powers was, of course, as that was happening, was put to rest. They were pretty much allowed to do whatever they wanted, since their father was in charge. And they seemed to have a very... even though the father rose in ranks, like, he marked that, like, at the beginning, the father seemed fine. But as he rose in ranks in the college, like, he seemed to get more and more corrupt.
Gotcha.
Rinka, even though she was kind of trained to be Cullem's successor, eventually kind of moved to the Trinworth's father's side. And Cullem mentions that they seem to have several people charmed. Zephyr, even Zephyr, at times. And he mentions like fracturing in their relationship during this time. Someone named Victor. It would say Victor, but then in parentheses it would say Sim. And other council members as well. Cullem, not agreeing with this corruption, left. And it mentions that at this time that he went to, that he was contacted by the library right upon leaving almost. And went there. And just a lot of passages about power corrupting people. You do catch a very tail hint into the book about a reunion with Zephyr. But then it seems to go on to another book.
Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Close the book up and
You're muted if you're talking.
Zephyr will write a note. There's 5 more of these upstairs. Talks about the time devices in one of them.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh my gosh. All right. Oh, can you show me where?
Shit.
Just follow me.
All right.
And Zephyr will stand up and walk out of the room.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm fine getting into off stream too.
Okay,
If it's
cool,
going to be too
cool.
crazy down.
It's fine.
Okay.
All right, so you
Thank
go.
you.
You follow Zephyr upstairs, and he'll show you where the other 5 books were sitting on the that table in the secret room, off the library.
Where I'd given them to you the first time.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. That's right. I did skim them. Oh, all right. Well, I should have read these a bit more carefully. But I'll correct that now. And well, I'll bring the books back so we're in the other room.
Can I?
Room.
Okay. All right. Yep. You bring the books back to the other room.
Private journals back to the dining area that the host is going to meet you. Okay.
So what are you doing with the journals once you bring them back to the dining room, Caszeel?
I'll put back the one I finished reading. I'm gonna keep them all in my pack so they're not too obvious. And I'm just gonna, if there's a seat behind the bar, I'll just sit down, lean up against a wall, and read.
Okay, all right.
Starting with the earliest.
Sounds good. Anyone else doing anything? Ranerius is still up in your room. It's been about an hour and a half that's passed so far. Teagan, what are you up to?
Tell you what, where's Zephyr? Zephyr's back in the room after retrieving the books, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to give Zephyr the old head notion to come over here to my side of the room.
La 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 la. Zephyr comes over.
Something's itching my brain, and I just can't get my... He's basically Teagan's talking out loud just to have Zephyr listen.
Right, yeah.
It's called a brain fart or personal problem.
And I'll just sort of look at Zephyr. How sure are you that's deft? That's really deft. The reason I'm questioning is he just sort of showed up out of nowhere. And he was here ahead of us. He was here in between when things happened and when we showed up. And I don't know, it bothers me. If I remember, when you say sparkly, that's usually associated with stuff that's from Dem Glemte?
Sparkle.
If you looked at yourself in a mirror, would you see sparklies around yourself?
It's a sparkle.
Are there sparkles coming off of Deft?
Are there sparkles coming off of Deft?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just find it really odd that he's here right now. Okay. Thank you for facilitating this meeting.
Darkness? A tower? He was investigating on the Dem plane.
Oh, okay.
Ask?
If you want to talk to him about it, I'm just...
You.
Okay. Maybe I will after dinner.
Something's itching my brain.
Yes. It's a good thing to remember. Always go with your gut.
All right. Anything else anyone has before to pass this half hour? Okay. All right. So the rest of you, everyone's in this room together. The next half hour passes, so make it 2 hours total. You will hear coming from the opening into where the door opened for you to enter into this room. And you will see
I didn't see you there.
You will see the spirit that led you into the room standing there. So this stout spirit in robes and just kind of standing there. at attention.
Hmm.
If everyone wouldn't mind sitting down, please.
I'll sit down.
Tuck the book away, my pack, and go sit down.
Ranerius will
Cheeky little
exit
thing.
the room and come down to dinner.
As you're coming down the steps, Ranerius, the rest of you would see coming from the almost like levitating up the stairs and then like rolling through the door in a wheelchair is Cullem. Wheelchair isn't being pushed by anything but by just magical means. And one of the chairs is kind of like from that, that's closest to where the group is sitting, is kind of like all of a sudden just magically moves back to give him a space to put his roll the wheelchair up to. And the spirit will be dinner is served, and all of a sudden on the table is just this feast appears. All real food, of course. Several meats, vegetables, some fruit, all laid out very elegantly, very fancifully prepared. Breads as well, cheeses, all laid out there. And you have, of course, the plates in front of you. Everything is properly set up with a proper table setting. And all of a sudden you will hear some instrumental, some like orchestral music as well. I apologize again. This is Cullem for the nap. I feel a little bit better now.
Oh, take all the time you need. I mean, you've been through a lot.
Are you enjoying the quarters, the room and the rooms upstairs? Of course, you're welcome to stay. It is getting a bit, and as he says that, most of you would probably notice maybe for the first time, like if you look up, there's a huge skylight in the ceiling, and there's no longer light shining in, but while everyone has been like talking and chatting amongst themselves, the candlesticks and have like slowly like dimmed on in the room that are the sconces on the wall. There are also some freestanding candelabras as well, and some, of course, hanging from the ceiling. But there's this huge skylight that you now see the night sky through and beautiful stars.
This is quite the lovely home you have here.
Thank you. This part is for appearances and what we always take guests to. Of course, I find my abode a bit more comfortable for myself. This is a bit too fancy for me, but well, some people definitely enjoyed it. But yes, that's where I bring the guests and or anyone else I need to discuss things with.
Well, I for one, am honored to be your guest. Thank you for having us.
Zephyr's the name.
The honor is all mine, Ranerius and Zephyr. But yes, the rooms, it is getting evening, night almost, so feel free to, I know that you probably need to rest, so feel free to sleep upstairs in any room that you want. They sort of not really tailor to your needs, but there's a variety of rooms up there, so enjoy yourselves.
Thank you.
And he'll kind of like, spread a napkin in his lap, a little daintily, and one of the waiters will, the spirits will kind of come around and just kind of stand behind, and you'll see like a pitcher of water kind of bring up and pour into glasses for each of you. And feel free to help yourselves at the bar as well, if that's more your thing. Oh, I see you have. Well, that's Fine.
She holds up
Absolutely
a drink.
fine. Please. This area is for guests, so.
Well, you can't eat on an empty stomach, sorta. Does it still work the same if
That's
you
right.
drink first and
I think
eat later?
it still helps as long as you don't wait too long to eat. Then otherwise, drink will hit you a little harder than it usually would, right?
That's true. Maybe I should have gone the other way first. Anyway, this looks so wonderful.
He'll chuckle a bit, and he'll kind of look to you, Ranerius. I apologize for not continuing our conversation earlier. It's well, to be frank, the thought of Zephyr purposefully hiding himself from me is a bit disconcerting to me. I don't understand it, which is why I wonder if it's a trick of sorts that he's set up.
Negative side effects?
Don't know how he would do it, but again, he was very powerful. Is Cullem very powerful?
Special side effects?
Didn't quite catch your name. Who are you?
Zephyr. Zephyr's the name.
Zephyr. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure?
Zephyr is from Dem Glemte himself.
Oh.
Dem Glemte, home.
I spent quite a bit of time there, working for the library, but that's long in the past.
Library's not to be trusted.
Yes, you wouldn't be wrong. And he'll continue eating. Did you have any more questions, Ranerius?
We found some crystals in one of the rooms upstairs. Again, forgive us for prying. We've had some experience with the crystals ourselves.
And I'll pull my shirt aside to show the scar.
Oh.
We've seen them be used to control people. If they are indeed the same crystals we've seen employed at Fairweather College.
Oh. I'll kind of put down his fork. Is your scar, son, from getting the crystals implanted or taken out?
It would seem both.
That's okay. That explains.
A dear friend removed them for me. I have no memory of it, but I am told that I had crystals and then they were removed or broken or tampered with, and
I've contacted some. I mean, I think most of you know that I've studied Ashiga and studied some of the mage spirits. I've talked to a few, and as you've seen, some of the servants here are some of the better mage spirits that I've come across who were willing to help. And some of them expressed that they expect that the crystals were implanted for a reason. Perhaps to control them? Not to control them, but as a way for the bad spirits to get in.
What?
So, it's a good thing. Whoever risked their job and their life to remove those crystals from you, or unless it was done outside the college. Did you go to Fairweather?
I did, yes. I attended for approximately a year before.
Ranerius, make an intelligence check for me, please.
Where's my character sheet? Here we go. 12.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to say that you, as you're talking to Cullem and you're talking about Fairweather, something starts clicking for you. You start beginning to recognize him. And at first, as you're talking, you're kind of in the back of your mind, you're thinking, where? Like, something to do with Fairweather. It was the statue out in the square with the plaque about the founder of Fairweather.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't make sense now, but I didn't quite realize whose presence I was in. It's an honor to have met you.
I would accept the honor if there was any honor to be taken anymore. But thank you. The Fairweather Mage College is something quite different than what, well, mostly different. At least the leadership's a bit different than what we originally intended, but thank you. Do they still have my statue up?
They do, yes.
That's surprising in and of itself.
Of you, yes, but
yes. That's.
Oh, you have a statue?
yes,
yeah.
She's like looking
one...
between the two.
You were there at the college. It was right out front. It was.
Oh, she was there.
You couldn't miss it.
Like that was you?
Yes, I founded the college. Ran it for a few years in the beginning, but it was, well, kind of taken away from me. But that may just be an old man's complaints. So.
You ever tried to take it back?
I tried to fight it when it was happening, but the Trinworths are very, very charming.
They're still there as well.
Well, most
yes.
of them are still there.
I'm well aware. They have quite, in the past, especially in the past couple of weeks, or past month, have started moving in a different, interesting. Yeah, but I'm sorry to hear that it's still under such leadership.
Are you able to remove those crystals? During our lookabout, we found that there was a chest full of them that were scrying out and such.
Yes, not so much in the past few years, but I had.
Sorry, I just had a note-taking moment.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was not.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Nice.
I was like, okay. Yeah. So, so I had mages that would come to me for help, knowing that I had been over the college and knew quite a bit, that were trying to find, and also just friends who were, I began to notice a interesting connection of these small crystal spheres that they were finding or being given by Fairweather people, or I mean, I've even ran across them in Dem Glemte, honestly. I don't know the origination of these, but yes.
Library.
You think it was the library, Zephyr? That's a scary thought.
The library's not to be trusted.
Seem to have made their way to quite a few people.
Shiga at its source.
Really? Oh.
Touted as something that would give them the excuses for them varies. Sometimes I think it depends on the people that they're giving it to. Sometimes it's said to be a good luck charm. Sometimes it's said to be a portal to their god or goddess or deity, so that they can watch them as they do good work for them. It's yes. So I've collected them across the years and kept them in the iron box. I hope you closed the box after seeing.
I closed it back up.
Okay.
I did once but it was open for at least half a minute, if not a minute.
You reach a certain age where you don't really fear. So if they see, they see. But I'd just rather keep them from seeing as long as I can.
So these wee crystals, because we knew some people that seemed to be completely changed after having these crystals put in them. You're saying that they're like a keyhole on a doorway that lets the spirits in. Makes it easier to be Shiga.
When I heard about the crystals, this was after I left, and went to Dem Glemte. I heard about the crystals and did a bit of research myself because I was a little bit younger then, and it seemed like it was more that it helped their powers, is what they were telling them. That it was part of the circle of mages for Ozberghen. That that's just what mages do. But and I started suspecting, and a few of my other mage friends began to suspecting that we're outside of this preposterous setting, the preposterous idea that it was to control them. But recently, I've talked to a couple of mage spirits who died in Fairweather, and it seems that perhaps their plan the entire time was for now. Was for when mage spirits would be loose and be able to control them. So, sort of right in my original thought, but not in the way that I never would have suspected. Well, I don't know. As I said, the Trinwiths are clever. Yeah. And they must have just decided to do this entire time.
Scary. Well, that's good to know. Right, I have no idea. I still, even the player doesn't know about Shanad. Right?
The interesting fact, maybe not helpful, but the Trinwiths are from Dem Glemte as well.
What?
Yes.
So we think they want to unleash the mage spirits on Ozberghen, but what do you think the greater purpose is? To have power, but not to have no real plan to do with it. Would you have any inkling on what the Trembler's plan or might be?
Honestly, I suspect that this is really all a distraction for something far worse.
You're picturing cackling in the background.
What?
You...
Are you?
Well, because of her
Are you all right?
conversation with John.
Oh, right.
The whole,
Right.
She had brought up the distraction part.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's
so
true.
She's cackling
That's
because
true.
of that.
That's true.
Sorry, guys. No need to worry. Maybe. I don't know.
You'll see, like, you'll kind of look up and yes, it seems too haphazard. Perhaps you've noticed. A bit almost as if, to distract someone loosing a bunch of rabid dogs out into a town. It seems too unplanned.
Is genocide spelled with a J?
No, it's spelled with a G, my friend.
Cheeky little thing.
Yes, that's my opinion, Ranerius. You're... Yeah. What did you... Did you give him your last name, Ranerius?
Yes, I did.
What did you say your last name was again?
My last name is Sim.
Okay.
Symme.
Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, I got a little off track there. Is there anything else that I can... I, of course, plan to help, and he kind of nods towards Jurble. I'll help your friend tomorrow, if you give me the night to rest, of course. I would appreciate it. Well, it's not too overtaxing on myself. The crystals, if something goes wrong, would require a lot of control on my part, so wouldn't want that to happen.
Zephyr will kind of reach down into the table and pull up the red tide. I need more clarification.
Did you get that from my library?
One plus one is 2.
He'll kind of chuckle and
quite concerned for him, but he's quite stubborn.
It's fine. It's fine. What clarification do you need, friend? You know what? Forget it. Deft is actually going to kind of lean. Well, for starters, he thinks you're a vampire.
The bus came through,
Cullem looks from Zephyr to Dad back to Zephyr, and just starts belly laughing, which turns into a cough. Takes a shaky drink of water. That is the funniest thing that I've possibly heard in some time. It'll kind of give you a very sympathetic look, Zephyr. It was a pet fascination of myself and Zephyr. We liked reading vampire romance novels of sorts. He sent me that. Look in the back cover, 3 pages in from the back cover. There it says, to Cullem, even though we're old, I still dream about you. He sent that to me about 12 years ago. It was a year or so before he went missing.
Who's that?
A little joke. Huh? I'm sorry.
Who's that went missing?
Zephyr.
That I noticed in the pictures that 2 of the gentlemen, one seemed like you and the other one seemed like a wizard we met about 6 weeks time ago. Just went by Z.
Yes. I was explaining to your friend, kind of nod to Ranerius. Zephyr, yes. Well, Z was a facade. Zephyr was very... he was dramatic. Had a flair for the dramatic.
Cheeky little thing.
Sometimes, yes. And he'll kind of smirk. But I am unaware. I mean, I'm unsure what the group of you saw. It was a... You see, Zephyr's been missing for a year, for a decade. The fact that you saw a character that he used to play to throw people off, manning a house in the woods by Bairn seems a bit unusual to me. And I haven't... well, I mean, I guess it could be actually him, but...
Oh, well, just give me a moment, and I'll use sending to send a message to the person we met in the woods. Let's see. Hello, Zephyr. I'm here with, I think, a friend of yours, Cullem. Says you're missing.
You have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah. Are you alright?
This is about your breakup.
And do you need help? So I hope that's not too much of a sideways thing, Steph. I'm sorry for that.
Nope, you're fine.
Okay, good.
Give me roll a D100 for me, please.
Ooh, okay.
Man.
Where's my
I should get that spell.
75. You don't, yeah, everyone's good.
You become the telephone company.
Thanks.
Okay. There is... Well, yeah. There is a long pause. Caszeel. Before you hear back... You reached me. I'm in Dem Glemte. held captive by the library. Another pause. Tell Cullem I love him, and I'm sorry. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Ba-bum.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Beautiful.
All right. So for those watching, you've been watching The Forsaken, our Monday night campaign every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Yeah. We have a lot of D&D content here on Madbird streams. Starting on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we have D&D 5e content from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time, as well as on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Tower of Dreams. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Dungeon Craft with Steph and Vic, where myself and Victoria work on dungeon tiles and we paint some miniatures. Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, you have Mad Art with Steph, where I work on some fan art for the various campaigns we have here on this channel, and more content to come. And also we have a Patreon, so Dan. So if you're looking for ways to support the channel, great way to do so. Not only do you get some really cool bonuses, some really cool stuff, but we get more back, so it's our preferred way to support, again, if you're looking for that opportunity. Okay, so let's see who we can raid over to. Let's see. Oh, I think I see Quests and Chaos is live.
Oh, fun. Nice.
They are, yeah, Dragon of Icespire Peak. So let's head over there and to our friends over at Quests and Chaos. Give them a caw when you raid over there. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So that does it for us. Thank you again for hanging out with us this evening. We'll see you tomorrow evening for Carousel Men at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Till then, take care of yourselves. And, yeah, we'll see you then. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.